Isaac was wailing again. Augustus snapped his head back to him. Another go at the mission, Corporal. Isaac shook his head no. He leaned over Augustus to look at me, and through tightly strung vocal cords said, "She didn't want to do it after. She didn't want to dump a blind guy," I said. He nodded. The tears not like tears so much as a quiet metronome, steady, endless. "She said she couldn't handle it," he told me. "I'm about to lose my eyesight and she can't handle it." I was thinking about the word handle, and all the unholdable things that get handled. "I'm sorry," I said. He wiped his sopping face with a sleeve. Behind his glasses, Isaac's eyes seemed so big that everything else on his face kind of disappeared, and it was just these disembodied, floating eyes, floating eye, floating eyes staring at me, one real, one glass. It's unacceptable," he told me. "It's totally unacceptable." "Well, to be fair," I said, "I mean, she probably can't handle it, neither can you. But she doesn't have to handle it, and you do. I kept saying always to her today. Always, always, always. And she just kept talking over me and not saying it back. It was like I was already gone, you know? Always was a promise. How can you just break the promise?" "Sometimes people don't understand the promises they're making when they make them," I said. Isaac shot me a look. "Right, of course, but you keep the promise anyway. That's what love is. Love is keeping the promise anyway. Don't you believe in true love?" I didn't answer. I didn't have an answer. But I thought that if true love did exist, that was a pretty good definition of it. "Well, I believe in true love," Isaac said. "And I love her. And she promised. She promised me always." He stood and took a step toward me. I pushed myself up, thinking he wanted a hug or something, but then he just spun around, like he couldn't remember why he'd stood up in the first place. And then Augustus and I both saw this rage settle into his face. "Isaac," Gus said. "What? You look a little, pardon the double entendre, pardon the double entendre, my friend, but there's something a little worrisome in your eyes." Suddenly, Isaac started kicking the crap out of his gaming chair, which he somersaulted back towards Gus's bed. "Here we go," said Augustus. Isaac chased after the chair and kicked it again. "Yes," Augustus said. "Get it. Kick the shit out of that chair." Isaac kicked the chair again until it bounced against Gus's bed. And then he grabbed one of the pillows and started slamming it against the wall between the bed and the trophy shelf above. Augustus looked over at me, cigarette still in his mouth, and half smiled. "I can't stop thinking about that book." "I know, right?" "He never said what happens to the other characters?" "No," I told him. Isaac was still throttling throttling the wall with a pillow. "He moved to Amsterdam." Which makes me think maybe he is writing a sequel featuring the Dutch Tulip Man. But he hasn't published anything. He's never interviewed. He doesn't seem to be online. I've written him a bunch of letters asking what happens to everyone, but he never responds. So yeah, I stopped talking because Augustus didn't appear to be listening. Instead, he was squinting at Isaac. "Hold on," he mumbled to me. He walked over to Isaac and grabbed him by the shoulders. "Dude, pillows don't break. Try something that breaks." Isaac reached for a basketball trophy from the shelf above the bed and then held it over his head as if waiting for permission. "Yes," Augustus said. "Yes." The trophy smashed against the floor. The plastic the plastic basketball player's arm splintering off, still grasping its ball. Isaac stomped on the trophy. "Yes," Augustus said. "Get it." And then back to me. "I've been looking for a way to tell my father that I actually sort of hate basketball. And I think we've found it." The trophies came down one after the other, and Isaac stomped on them and screamed while Augustus and I stood a few feet away, bearing witness to the madness. The poor, mangled bodies of plastic basketballers litter, litter the carpeted ground. Here, a ball palmed by a disembodied hand. There, two torsoless legs caught mid-jump. Isaac kept attacking the trophies, jumping on them with both feet, screaming, briefly, sweaty, until finally he collapsed on top of the jagged trophy remnants. Augustus stepped toward him and looked down. Feel better? He asked. No, Isaac mumbled, his chest heaving. That's the thing about pain, Augustus said, and then glanced back at me. It demands to be felt.